There's Radio, and welcome to the news of the week. We are in week 13, and boy am I not excited for the season. We have lost to the Bills, and it's just a total mess. Jalen Ramsey talking all that trash towards the one and only Josh Allen, who, in my opinion, is in fact trash. And I don't know what we're supposed to do. In big news, though, Doug Marrone has been fired from the Jacksonville Jaguars, signing Jay McGumble. Ignore the fact that the news article says number one on both. It says that for every single team for some reason. And here's the news. Jay McGumble to take over Jacksonville. The Jaguars will look to first-time NFL head coach Jay McGumble to lead the franchise. He said, "It's all about building the best team possible and letting the players go to work." And it's very interesting. Pete Schrager says the Jaguars will be looking to make a splash when they replace Coach Marrone, who never quite delivered for them. That is in fact true. And it's just been a crazy week if you're a Jaguars fan. If you're an NFL fan, it's been a crazy week. Or not even a crazy... Let's just take a look at the standings in the NFL. So right now, the Saints are atop the mountain at 10-1. That's just truth. Saints are number one. The Chiefs are 9-2, which they're leading the AFC. The Rams are 10-1. Patriots 8-3. Texans are 8-3. Bears are 8-3. Chargers are 8-3. Steelers 7-3-1. Vikings 6-4-1. And those are the above 500. As you know, me, Danny Irvine. If I forgot to mention, Danny Irvine. I've got an affinity for the Seahawks, who are above 500. And I should say above 500 by more than one game, by the way. Because any of these teams lose, they're back to 500. But I've got an affinity for my Seahawks, and we've been doing pretty good on the road. Pretty good. 4-3. Not bad. But, as you can see here, the Jaguars are at a lowly 3-8. 2-4 at home, and 1-4 on the road. If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you have to cut the coach with this horrible season. You're below the Bills, for goodness sake. And so they made the decision to cut Doug Marrone. It's just been crazy. I will be right back. For now, we're going to look through some Jacksonville Jaguars stats. This is 103.4 Jacksonville Jaguars fan radio. Hello and welcome back to 103.4 Jacksonville Jaguar fan radio. We're looking for a better name, but this is, we just started the radio. We just got the rights to be able to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars on the radio. So excuse us as we try to figure out the business side of things. And it's crazy. So a little look at this team, because as you can see, we are 3-8 as Jacksonville. And obviously we are not the commentators, we are not doing radio on the comment. We are doing personal takes and commentary on the in-between things, because there's already enough commentary during the week. So obviously at quarterback there's the debacle of Blake Bortles getting benched for Cody Kessler. And if you look at Cody Kessler, it'll be shown on the screen on the website, but if you're on radio, then you see Cody Kessler hasn't really done much since his rookie year, where he looked like a sensation with 6 touchdowns and 2 picks and a 92.2 quarterback rating. Oddly enough, apparently good enough to be a starter in Jacksonville, because that's just how bad Blake Bortles has played. $11 touchdowns, 17 interceptions in his rookie year. Had a phenomenal 2015 season, and it's gone downhill from there. I can't even say it was a phenomenal 2015 season, because he's threw under 60% completion with 606 attempts. What? It's just absurd. And then it got even worse in 2016. What do you do if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars? You ain't got no quarterback, but you've got a team built around everything but the quarterback. Now we go to the running backs, and I gotta say, Leonard Fournette is the future of this offense. I think everyone knows at this point. I'm a huge LSU fan, so I've been excited about him, and Darius Guice is another running back I've been looking at, and Nick Chubb, and a lot of SEC running backs coming out more recently, and they're doing phenomenal. Then you have Carlos Hyde, who is a more recent acquisition. I can't exactly recall when we retrieved him, but he is kind of been stealing from another guy who has been a great receiver for the team, surprisingly, TJ Yeldon. And then there's the electric but injured Corey Grant. Then you have Tommy Bohannon, who is one of the better fullbacks, I'd say, in the league. He does have some athleticism to him. Not exactly the best blocker, but he's a good runner. And here is the problem as well. You can't entirely blame it on Blake Bortles. There is no one for him to throw to. Marquise, my apologies, Lee is his best receiver, and he is hurt. Then you have D.D. Westbrook, who is pretty good, I'd say. He's definitely an up-and-coming talent. But when you look at the other receivers from this draft class, Juju Smith-Schuster, Cooper Kupp, and among others, it's really like he's not a number 1 receiver yet. And then you have Keelan Cole from Kentucky Wesleyan. I had never heard of this guy before this season, but he's been doing alright. He started off with a good season, and I don't think he was bad. I think it was just he was quietly a decent receiver, and he's actually underperforming surprisingly this year. I think the reason why people forget about a lot of these receivers is because when you go to Jacksonville as a receiver, unless you're really good, you end up being shoved under the mediocrity of Blake Bortles and other receivers. Another player I like on this team is DJ Chark Jr., another LSU guy. Excuse my bias here. But DJ Chark, he's athletic, he is tall, he could be something special. Dante Moncrief could be good. Keelan Cole has been up and down so far. Hopefully he can turn it around. And he's a decent size, athleticism, and catching ability. I think Keelan Cole can be better than D.D. Westbrook here in a couple of years, possibly. And don't get me wrong, neither of them are stars. They're definitely better receivers in this class. But I think Keelan Cole, if we look at Keelan Cole, he had less expectations. In fact, he was undrafted. Like I was about to say, I don't think he was drafted. He wasn't. and yet he is performing about as well as D.D. Westbrook, with less snaps and less targets, etc., etc. So I think Keelan Cole actually could outperform D.D. Westbrook in the coming years. Next, you have Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who is hurt, and James O'Shaughnessy. Very quiet. Niles Paul, who's also hurt. A lot of injuries on the offense has been killing him. Ben Koyak, another receiver I like. I like Blake Bell. I like him. Former quarterback from Oklahoma. He could be good. And then you have long snappers Carson Tinker, who is hurt, and Matt Overton from Western Washington University, which I don't even think has a football team anymore, so yikes. Then you have Cam Robinson, who's hurt. He hasn't been exactly amazing or bad, from what I can tell. Then you have Josh Wells, also hurt. And you have Eric Stinking Flowers. Why do you hate your offense so much, Fournette and Bortles, that you would start Eric Stinking Flowers? Oh, oy vey. Andrew Norwell, also hurt. Chris Reed. Brendan Linder, hurt. Tyler Shatley. AJ Ken, a not hurt starting lineman. It's a Christmas miracle. And you got Patrick Omame. Jeremy Parnell, another starting lineman who's not hurt, but he's like 90 years old. Will Richardson Jr., the young backup, hurt. Corey Robinson. Calais Campbell. I think he's one of the bright spots, and it's a clear reason why he's a captain. And you got the future Calais Campbell and Tavon Bryan. I think this dude could be crazy good. He's stronger and faster than Calais. I mean, he doesn't have the height, but 6'4", 291 is nothing to shrug at, especially when you're as athletic as him. And I think Tavon Bryan can be as good as Calais Campbell. He just needs to work on his run-stopping ability and become a better swim, finesse kind of pass rusher. Then you have Dwayne Smoot, who is, I think, a phenomenal guy, but I think Jay McGumble agrees with me that he's more of a right end. He's more of a pass rusher, although he can play left end in certain schemes. I think they're trying to figure out, because I think a lot of these guys are going to be moved. Like, I believe they moved Calais Campbell to right end, because Jay McGumble runs a Baltimore style. He's a disciple of John Harbaugh, so his style is going to be different. So Yannick and others are going to be moved to linebacker. This will be interesting. After this break, we will be back and we will have more commentary on the change of the Jaguars. This has been 103.4 Jaguar Fan Radio. Hey guys, this is actually Jumble. I'm taking a break from the radio commentary for a second. Just to give you context, if you look in the description below at the bottom under the standard stuff, there is a mention of the fact that you can join this franchise. You just have to follow my PSN, Jumbles_gaming. I will add you to a group chat for people who follow me for the Madden. Or I'll have an overall fan group or following group, and if you want to be in the Madden group, let me know, or I will just post it in the follow group, because there's a league password and I don't want to get, I want to make sure it's people who actually enjoy my stuff and don't just want to be on a franchise, because I want there to actually be some fan interaction, not just random people. So right now I'm just going to be changing the rosters as I talk about this. So yeah, I have the league password, I've taken a picture of it, yada yada yada. So the reason I've done this kind of radio commentary, obviously I'm taking it from things of like Blackjack, and I believe Moonlight and Mr. Hurricane do it as well, but I want to do this radio commentary But because it's in a live stream fashion, it can either go horribly wrong or horribly right. We will see. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm putting guys because we're changing to a 3-4, so it's always going to be something fun. Malik Jackson's probably going to be a right end. And right now I'm just going to be talking about, like, I'm not going to explain my process of what I'm doing because that would kind of spoil for the commentary, actual commentary. So we're going to probably move Aubrey Jones. I'm not going to say, like, what my thoughts are yet. I'm just going to state what I'm doing and then you can find out. Oh, so Malik Jackson taking Brian, Aubrey Jones. Okay. Nick DeLuca. Oh no, I know who that is. As an Eastern fan, I know who Nick DeLuca is. I don't understand why it gives these random captains to random people who don't make sense. Maybe they actually do that, like those are actual captains, but it makes no sense why Lorente McRae would be a captain, or Blake Bortles, for goodness sake, would be a captain. Okay, good, this guy will actually be a scheme fit then. That's going to be a great middle linebacker core, by the way. Miles Jack and Telvin Smith Sr. Wait, what was Telvin as an outside linebacker? He was like an 86, right? Hate when it downgrades people for being Stone Payne, Martell Spade. Nick DeLuca's got 57. Jesus, I'm gonna. Also, if you guys have a preference between the radio style or this style, just let me know. I'm kind of trying to experiment with both. DJ Hayden. Ooh, I like DJ Hayden. And welcome back to 103.4 Jaguars Radio. And you might have noticed there are some position changes on if you're looking at the website. If you aren't, I will explain them to Jay McGumble is a 3-4 coach, as I mentioned before. He is a disciple of John Harbaugh. He's a disciple of the Harbaughs. I believe he's been with both of them. And though they run a similar 3, and in the aspect of they run a 3-4, he definitely has gotten some things from both of them on what kind of team he wants. So at left end, the offense has stayed pretty much the same, by the way. He runs a similar offense to what Doug Marrone did, which, depending on who you ask, could be both great or horrible. but he's using a different playbook. He's taking more from, using the same scheme in a power running West Coast offense, so that the offense won't have to adjust while trying to get better, but also changing the playbook to hopefully help. So at left end they have Malik Jackson and Taven Bryan, and there's a lot of questions as to who's going to start, Taven Bryan or Malik Jackson. I'm hearing that McGumble, knowing that the season is probably going to be crap, might tank the next couple of games and just strive to have Taven Bryan start just to get some experience. Not to mention, Taven Bryan was an early pick, if I'm not mistaken. Intended to be a D tackle. Let me check. Yeah, he was a first round pick. So Taven Bryan is probably going to get some more playing time because of this. You also have Calais Campbell at right end now. So he's staying in the end position instead of becoming a linebacker. Then you have backup Aubrey Jones, the former defensive tackle. Same with Malik, but Malik's light, so not surprising. Then at defensive tackle, it's a lot weaker, but it's a 3-4, so it doesn't matter as much. You have Marcel Darius still playing D tackle. It's not surprising. He's 330 pounds. He's very athletic for being 330 pounds, but he's 330 pounds. Then you have Eli Nkwa from the great diversity school of UCLA. What I mean by that is that they can play a lot of positions. Michael Hughes, who is hurt, so they're going to need to find out a defense. Left outside linebacker is, although different, I'd say the talent-wise, the left outside linebacker position is very similar. You have Blair Brown, who's still pretty young, Lorente McCray, who's probably going to play more of a mentor role, and Nick DeLuca, who, if you listen to NFL hopeful Gage Gubrud, will say is the toughest player he's ever played against. Which is kind of weird because he's played against better defensive players than that, so I don't know. Then at middle linebacker, we will have one of the most athletic middle linebacker cores, if not the most athletic linebacker core of all time, with Miles Jack and Telvin Smith Jr., with backups Don Payne, who's hurt, and Martrell Spade. At right outside linebacker, we have, obviously, Yannick Ngakoue, or is it Ngakoue? Yannick Ngakoue. I forget how it's pronounced. I'm going with Ngakoue. Leon Jacobs and Dwayne Smoot. A very young linebacker core on that side. Then, cornerback, nothing has changed. Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, DJ Hayden, Tyler Patman, Trey Herndon, and Quentin Meeks. The reason I don't think he's changed this is because, although the secondary has been weak, part of it might be because of the coaching scheme. They're relying so heavily on AJ Boye and Jalen Ramsey to do everything and have the safeties play more in the box that turns out young, well, I wouldn't even say young because AJ Boye is not the youngest guy. Turns out people can make mistakes. So the fact that they're relying so heavily on those two, you can give them a break occasionally. Then you have Tayshawn Gibson Sr., who is more of an in-the-box safety. I know, shocker. Then you have Cody Davis, who is more of the exact opposite. And then you have Gerard Wilson and CJ Revis. Will be interesting to see, as he has a lot of acceleration in him. Tayshawn Gibson Sr. is obviously going to be a starter. They're not going to start Cody Davis over him, or really start Gerard Wilson. At strong safety, there is some interesting questions, though. Will Barry Church, especially after the game against the Colts, the first game against the Colts, stay next year? He's already 30. He's starting to slow down. Although he can catch and tackle and make plays, he's an older guy on a team that's probably going to be rebuilding after this horrible season. And then you have someone like Ronnie Harrison, who is athletic and can tackle decently, not as well as Barry Church, but can hit harder than Barry Church and is younger. So you got to ask yourself, Ronnie Harrison might be the future. So how long will Barry Church stay in the league? Then you have Josh Lambo, who's pretty accurate, I'd say. I mean, 17 of 19, if I'm not mistaken. And has missed 1 PAT. One of the more accurate kickers this season, I'd say. Then you have punter Logan Cook, a rookie who's got a decent leg. I wouldn't say it's a phenomenal leg, but he's also a rookie, so he can develop the accuracy of his kicks. And in terms of picks, they have, at the moment, the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft. They have a first, a second, a third, a fourth, a sixth, a seventh, and a 7th. One from Baltimore, ironically enough, his former mentor. In 2020, they have a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th because of the trade with the Rams. On the practice squad, there is Bo Scarborough, Breon Borders, Alan Lazard, Dee Delaney, Casey McDermott, and Tanner Lee. And so we're going to go over these people a little bit because they are potentially the future. Especially someone like Bo Scarborough, who's a young, big old back from the SEC. I think Bo Scarborough could be a great alternate to Leonard Fournette if he is ever injured, or could be the, substitute or end of game back if we want to make sure Leonard Fournette does not get hurt, so on and so forth. Breon Borders, I think, has a lot more potential than Bo Scarborough because of the competition level. Yes, I know Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye, but outside of that, there's DJ Hayden maybe, but he's getting older himself, so Breon Borders, I think, could develop into a slot corner, which I think is what's going to work best for him. He's 6 foot, so he's not as tall as Ramsey, for example. He's not blazing fast, decently agile. He can catch the ball particularly well. In fact, better than a Bo Scarborough who plays on the offense. And he's actually a decent tackler and definitely a decent hitter for a corner. So I think he could develop into a slot corner. And then there's Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard from Iowa State, the Cyclones. He is one of those guys who, although not very agile, could build into being one of those big, like, Mike Evans types. If he could be a perfect, like, the perfect receiver for his build would be someone like Mike Evans or one of the big-bodied receivers. Like, not athleticism size wise, but body size wise, I think he could be Calvin. He has like a Calvin Johnson build where he's like 220 plus. Although he's definitely not nearly as athletic as Calvin Johnson, but Calvin Johnson's like once in a generation. Then you have Dee Delaney, who is the biggest competition, I think, for Breon Borders. But he's less agile. He does have the weight, though. He does have the speed. He has decent catching as well. Which, by the way, Alan Lazard, pretty good catching. Jumping, Lazard, phenomenal jump ball. Same with Bo, interestingly enough. When it comes to tackling and hitting, Dee Delaney, I think, more projects like an outside corner. So he won't get as much playing time, arguably. Although he is from Miami, so you know that could change at any moment. Casey McDermott. With how often there are injuries, all I can say is he might get playing time if this keeps up. Tanner Lee from Nebraska. When I think of Nebraska quarterbacks, I think of Taylor Martinez and how he did not project well in the NFL. Actually, I don't even know if he went to the NFL. Taylor Martinez was very hyped coming when he was playing in Nebraska back in 2014, 2013, give or take. Heck, maybe it was 2012. 2013, 2012, that year. 2012, 2013, I mean. He's definitely an interesting prospect. He's got a decent arm. He can throw on the run decently. Throwing under pressure is alright. Very good play action quarterback, interestingly enough. Although a weak-armed... I wouldn't say he's a weak-armed. I'd say he's about where you want your quarterback to be. You know, can throw the deep ball occasionally, but his arm's alright. So now that you have an idea of what the team is like... Yeah. So, the big question is, what do you do with this team? Well, first of all, you need to fill the rest of your practice squad if you're Jay McCumble, and he has in fact done that. He actually signed Mitch Lowen to the practice squad. Not a rookie per se, but definitely a talented young guy. He has signed Amara Darboh from the Seattle Seahawks. He might even get some playing time in the actual team. He has signed Juan Price for more depth at linebacker. He had signed Dante Dayon. I'm gonna assume it's Dayon. And lastly, I believe it was lastly, he signed Anthony Averett to the official squad, which was a bold move. And the player who was cut, you may ask, Matt Overton, the long snapper. Yes, I know, shocker. The long snapper was fired. So who is going to take over for the long snapper? Well, they are announcing that Blake Bell, the former quarterback, if you can believe it, is going to be the long snapper. And you gotta wonder, why? So the long snapper at this point, it seems like it's either going to be Blake Bell or someone we don't know about. Then you look at the players who are being considered to be signed. Oops. There's Josh Lambo, who is a decently expensive quarterback, honestly. But with a leg like Josh Lambo, you gotta think about it. And that's what Jacksonville did when they offered him 9.8 million for 4 years, which is pretty high for a quarterback, or kicker, my apologies. But when you realize that Josh Lambo is arguably one of the best kickers in the league, you understand. The big question, in my opinion, is what do you do with Josh Yeldon? Or, not Josh Yeldon. Sorry, this is live radio, and I am messing up. TJ Yeldon. And they haven't made an offer on him. Dante Moncrief, they haven't made an offer on. Corey Grant, they haven't made an offer on because he is hurt, so they want to wait and see what they can get off him. James O'Shaughnessy, though, they offered what I think is too high. $14.8 million over 4 years for a backup tight end. Arguably backup tight end. AJ Cann. They offered $13.8 million for 4 years, which is even less than the O'Shaughnessy, which is very odd. Ben Koyak was offered something, but interestingly enough, some rumors are going around the league that he's projected to go into the fullback position. Not right now, because they're in the middle of a season, but maybe over the off-season switching him and seeing if he can make that transition to fullback. A player who was actually had their offer withdrawn, they said they are not going to resign, is Josh Wells. A receiver that is being looked at, though, is Rashad Green Sr. And boy, did they lowball him. $11 million for 5 years. And Rashad Green Sr., because he has a kid, I assume it's because he has a kid, decided to accept it and not risk not getting employed by a team. Then you have Chris Reed. And Chris Reed was offered $8.8 million over 4 years. And Chris Reed said no. Gerard Wilson was actually passed on, interestingly enough. Jaden Mickens, denied. Eric Flowers, thank goodness, denied. Patrick Omame, denied. Tyler Patman, denied. Martrell Spate, denied. Quentin Meeks is the exception to this streak. In fact, he actually got more than we thought. He was offered $4.5 million over 6 years. We were actually projecting it to be lower. Josh Walker was denied. CJ Revis was lowballed as lowballed can be, offering $600,000 a year for $3.6 million over 6 years. Although there was a bit of a signing bonus, so he was guaranteed not to be cut, and so he accepted. Tyler Shatley was cut. And in week 14, they said there's some rumors on what's going to happen with Tommy Bohannon, Corey Robinson, and Blake Bell. Then we'll probably hear about Tommy Bohannon first because he is a fullback and you only usually have one fullback on the team, so there's less competition. And now for my favorite part, since we're apparently tanking this season. On the side, I forgot that this is on my different account, so I don't have the file. Woohoo! Just gonna download it real quick. Sorry, I am getting information on the draft class at the moment. And here it is. I'm being sent the file at the moment. And we're going to look at quarterback first. There are a couple of quarterbacks to look at. And this is the mock draft of Jeff Hemmings. And Jeff Hemmings, somewhat respectable of a mock draft guy. But I do have one question. Who is Daniel Jones? Looking at CBS Sports Ryan Wilson's mock draft, though, you see that it's pretty consistent that Daniel Jones is actually in the first round. Interestingly enough, they have him going to the Patriots. The big question is, which strong-arm quarterback is going to be drafted first? Will it be Justin Herbert? Will it be Drew Lock? Or will it be Daniel Jones? If you look at the three quarterbacks, I think it's pretty unanimous that Justin Herbert will be the number one quarterback picked. It starts to get a little bit iffy with Drew Lock and Daniel Jones. Justin Herbert is a very talented quarterback, and he could go very early in the draft. Very early. I'm saying like top 5. So it will be very interesting to see where Justin Herbert goes. He is the most talented quarterback. The big competition is between Drew Lock and Daniel Jones, and who will fall. I think we have a decent chance at getting either Drew Lock or Daniel Jones. If we stay in the 8th pick range, I think we can get either. Again, the Patriots are projected to select Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones more than likely will be available, but the question is, do we go with him or do we go with the stronger, arguably more accurate but less intelligent Drew Lock? That will be the question. There's also a quarterback who I am very high on in Will Grier. The question is, do the Jaguars wait until the 2nd round to select a quarterback with the problems of Blake Bortles and now Cody Kessler being the starter? Feel free to comment down below if you think that it's worth the wait. Ryan Finley is another good quarterback, and this is a very, I'd say, very decent quarterback class. You have players like Clayton Thorson, Jared Stidham, Britt Ripon. Depending on who you ask, I mean, I believe it was his uncle or his father, Mark Ripon, who has actually won a Super Bowl, but not that great of a quarterback. Then you have people like Shea Patterson, Jordan Fitzgerald, Jordan Ta'amu, Eric Dungy, David Blow, Jake Browning, who could be interesting, Gardner Minshew II, which could be interesting, Trace McSorley, Justice Hansen, I would say, is someone I'm going to be paying attention to, along with Tanner Magnum and maybe Brent Stockstill. All three are decently athletic and could play different positions. Tanner Magnum could be just like fellow Brigham Young quarterback Taysom Hill. But I'm a lot more interested in Justice Hansen because I've followed his career a little bit more, and I know that he has some decent athleticism. The question will be, who will the Jaguars select first? But that's about it for now, and we will look. And boy, will this be interesting. I think it's time, and I believe Jay McGumble has announced this, that they start putting in the younger players to develop them, because boy, are the Jaguars screwed at this point, it seems like. That includes, I think, TJ Yeldon going above Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde will, though, in fact, be playing fullback to make sure he has some carries as long as the size. I think it's time for players like Keelan Cole to play more than just a slot role. debatable. I think Keelan Cole will be more of a slot receiver. DJ Chark Jr. D.D. Westbrook has been put above Dante Moncrief, and DJ Chark might get a decent amount of playing time. James O'Shaughnessy, Ben Koyak, Blake Bell. There has been a change to left tackle. They are moving Josh Walker above Eric Flowers. Understandably so. And then at left end, Taven Bryan will get the starting job. It will be Calais Campbell, Aubrey Jones, and then Eli Anqua. The tackle, it's going to be Marcel Darius, Eli Anqua. And I'm a little bit concerned with the aspect that we have no other defensive tackle. I think they're going to use Aubrey Jones, possibly, to play that multi-role. It will be Blair Brown, Lorente McCray, and Nick DeLuca at the left side. Middle linebackers will be Miles Jack, Telvin Smith Senior, Martel Spate. Outside linebacker will be Leon Jacobs. That's a miscommunication. Yannick Ngakwe, Leon Jacobs, and Dwayne Smoot. At cornerback, we have Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, DJ Hayden, the recently signed Anthony Averett, Tyler Patman, who will probably be gone by the end of the season. But the question is, because I think Quentin Meeks or Trey Herndon could be getting possibly more playing time. I think Trey Herndon is the better guy, but Coach McGumble went with Meeks, and I'm sure it has to do with the 6'1", 210 size. You always get the Richard Sherman comparison, probably, thinking about that. Revis has been moved above Gerard Wilson. Barry Church, Ronnie, the main man Harrison, will be starting above Barry Church for the rest of the season. Josh Lambo will still be quarterback. Logan Cook will still be punter. He's probably going to get even more snaps this year. And then at returner, it's Rashad Green Sr., Chark, and then it's Trey Herndon, CJ Revis, and finally Tyler Patman. But I guess you gotta get snaps for him somehow. I guess. Punt returner is very similar. I don't actually think there is a difference. Still Trey Herndon, which... But actually, when you look at the punt return squad, it is just Rashad Green Sr. and then DJ Chark, with Trey Herndon as an emergency, I guess. Josh Lambo is a kicker on kickoffs. Long snapper, the long-awaited long snapper. It is, in fact, Blake Bell. At third down running back, it is TJ Yeldon, followed by Carlos Hyde, followed by David Williams, which doesn't make sense, but I guess they just don't want Leonard Fournette to get tired. Power back is Leonard Fournette, followed by Carlos Hyde, followed by David Williams. Slot receiver, D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole, and Rashad Green Sr. Rush left end is Taven Bryan, followed by Malik Jackson. Rushing right end is Yannick Ngakwe, followed by Malik Jackson. Rushing defensive tackle is Calais Campbell, followed by Marcel Darius. Sub linebacker is, in fact, Telvin Smith Sr. The slot corner, it's a hotly contested one, but it will be between Quentin Meeks, Ronnie Harrison, and DJ Hayden. DJ Hayden has it for... Actually, excuse me, Quentin Meeks will be starting over DJ Hayden, with Ronnie Harrison as the alternate. Practice squad is the same except with the addition of Amara Darbo, Mitchell Lowen, Juan Price, Dante Deon, and that's about it for what I can tell. And the big question is, do they go with Cody Kessler, like what Doug Marrone wanted, or do they go with Blake Bortles, which no one wants but also don't want? And they actually chose neither. They signed... They signed JT Barrett IV. They signed Sam Bradford. Lord, if you could stay healthy. And they signed... no one else, I hope. I don't know. There are some rumors that Scott Tolzien was in fact hired, but I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. And I thought they were going to cut 2 players from the starters, but in fact, they actually cut Tanner Lee. What a short tenure he's had. And they cut D. Delaney. Meaning, welcome JT Barrett and another player. We knew JT Barrett was going to be put on the practice squad. That much was obvious. I'm in fact getting news right now that the other player getting the practice squad treatment, we'll call it that, is... let's see if I can find him on the roster sheet. I can't remember his name. Nick DeLuca. How did I not remember that? I've been talking about him a decent amount during the entire broadcast of the radio, but I could not remember it then. Maybe I got one of those head injuries. Seems like every player in the NFL got a head injury, and I didn't play NFL, but believe it or not, Danny Irvine used to play a bit of college ball. Played D2. Might have got a head injury in there. You guys might be surprised, but D2 can get pretty competitive. I actually almost transferred to a FCS school. I was looking at... what was that school? Eastern Washington, you know, the one that sent players to the NFL. I was looking there, but just didn't work out. I just didn't feel like it. They didn't provide me enough, I guess. So I went with the flow, and here we are. Also news, Broncos have signed Brandon Thomas from our practice squad. I'll see you next week. This has been 103.4 Jacksonville Fan Radio. Thank you guys so much for listening in, and peace. And Jumbles back now. But seriously, don't know how this is going to go. I think I'm going to keep this one short so it will be watched more as a video than a live stream. I just was wondering, or not even wondering, I'm broadcasting this in case there are any live questions. I can answer them both either as Danny Irvine, radio commentator, and for those who do not know, which will be all of you because I haven't recorded anything on PlayStation 3, Danny Irvine is the personality that is on NCAA 14. He was a great head coach, won multiple national championships, but this is before he's a head coach, we'll say. And if you're wondering where the 2D2 thing came up, that was me just kind of messing around. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Jumbles, you've been amazing. Deuces.